This is Brother Jamal coming to you again with a video this morning. Thought I would do this because I think it's real important, extremely important to do this video at this particular time. This video this morning is entitled "The Movement Must Go On," regardless of what may happen, what obstacles may be thrown in front of you or before you. It's extremely important to all the young people who has taken up on this journey, the journey to complete this mission and this phase of the movement is extremely important. Especially, I encourage the young people, regardless of what may happen and what may go on, it's extremely important that you keep on pushing. Do not be dismayed. Do not lose courage. Do not lose faith. Do not lose anything. Just continue to keep going forward. That's extremely important. Just a few things I want to mention to you about, and this is in the area of social injustice. The three things that we talk about in the movement, and people get sidetracked with the organizations, the personalities. They don't, and when they get sidetracked, they are not able to focus on the real issues, which is institutionalized racism, number one. Number two is oppression, and number three is social injustice. These are the three things that the movement is pressing forward on. Now, people get all caught up in the personalities, get caught up on the organizations, then you're not focused on the concern of the movement, not the issues, but the concern and the long-range goal of the movement, as I said, which is institutionalized racism, oppression, and social injustice. So, I want to say to the young people who are protesting, I know so many of the protesters have been at the police stations and going to the police station, which is nothing wrong with that. Rallies and marches and protests, there's nothing wrong with that. Either the site where the person has been murdered to the police station, nothing wrong with that. What I do say to the protesters, if you continue to go to those police stations and you're not getting any kind of results, or you're not getting any kind of feedback, then if these police officers who have been involved in these crimes of murder especially, and if you can't get any results at the police station or get any kind of feedback, then you take it to where they live, find out their name, and then you take it exactly to where they stay to put pressure on them. Some of these police officers have been let out on bail, which they should not be. They should still be locked up. That's where they belong, to be locked up for the crimes they've committed. As I said, if you know some of them are out and you want to get to them, take it to their house, take it to where they live, put pressure on them, hold a rally, hold a protest at the location of where they live. Once you find out the name and the location, that's how you step it up and put the pressure on them. So that's one part I want to mention. The other part of this too is that to the young people here in Des Moines, Iowa, who have been on it for quite some time and is still keeping the pressure up. The young people who are exposing and getting to the root of what we call institutionalized racism. I mean institutionalized, where it's ingrained in these institutions, it's ingrained in these workplaces. It ingrained, so they are exposing high V's that's on the south side of town, where the things go on that nobody want to talk about. So they're shaking things up at that high V's on the south side. They are shaking it up because anytime you expose institutionalized racism, I'm talking about that's ingrained, that's kept quiet. Nobody want to talk about it. Or if somebody does talk about it, they want to play them off like it's not going on, it's not happening. We don't do that here. We don't have that kind of practice here. Well, institutionalized racism is settled, and they try to keep it settled like that. So for the young people who are exposing that, that's what time it is. That's what you're supposed to do. And so they're exposing that. Now, in the midst of them exposing that, I just want to say to the young people that you have people not only on that side of town, on the south side of town. You have people in this city who they more or less go along with that kind of racism, that kind of institutionalized racism. Some of these people belong to the hate groups. So the young people, you have to be extremely aware of your surroundings, because there are some people that will seriously try to not only try to hurt you, but they'll try to take your life. I saw a video yesterday evening where the young people were protesting at the Hy-Vees on the south side, and someone came through with a truck and actually tried to run over those young people, actually tried to hurt them. So that's what I'm talking about, the hate and the dislike and the discontent of the fact that these young people, all nationality, all colors, are exposing the institutionalized racism that's in Hy-Vees. It's been there. It's just been kept quiet. See, when you get up in the echelon and the managers, the supervisors, even sometimes the workers, they keep these things quiet because they don't want nobody to know, because it's embarrassing and it's a shame, really, that these kind of things are still going on, but they are going on. So that part of social injustice that the young people, we say, right on, keep on pushing, keep on exposing that social injustice in these institutions and in these workplaces that they want to keep quiet, they don't want nobody to know about. The last thing I want to mention too, to the young people, these just some kind of guidelines, inshallah, for safety. Guidelines for safety for the youth. This is one of the things I learned of being involved in the movement over the years. I learned this. Number one, try to stay in a group. I know when you're protesting and demonstrating, you all are together because you're in a group at that particular time. It's not good for anybody to go off by themselves when you're a group, because oftentimes what they try to do when you're protesting and demonstrating and having a rally, they try to catch someone off by themselves. So it's important to try to stay in a group. Number two, always try to let someone know where you're going. If not taking someone with you, always try to let someone know where you're going and stay in contact with people. The third thing is, no one should be, if you can help it, traveling or going any place at nighttime by his or herself. That's extremely important. The third thing is, no one should be, if you can help it, traveling any place at nighttime by his or herself. For instance, after the protests and the rally is over with, you need to make sure that everybody is going, however you're moving, make sure that no one is going and leaving, traveling, going to their car by themselves, traveling by themselves. That's extremely important. You want to check on people, check in with people. That's real important. The fourth thing is, try always to be aware of your surroundings. Always is important to always try to be aware of your surroundings. The fifth thing is, and the last thing is, that part of the movement is letting people know. The fifth and last thing, and this is extremely important, and this goes to the young people who are involved in the movement. The reason that these things are going on in the movement to the young people is because you're doing something right and you're making headways and you're getting to the root. You're getting to the root of the cause of the problems. So that's why you're getting attacked. That's why these things are happening, because anytime that you're on the path of doing what's right, and you were conveying the message of exposing social injustice, exposing oppression, and exposing these kind of evils, then this is what happened. Actually, I'll say to the young people, one of the signs of that you're on the right path, the right track, because you're uprooting, if you will, the oppression. You're uprooting the social injustice. You're uprooting the institutionalized racism with your stand, with your position, with your movement, with your action. You are uprooting. That's one of the signs. You are uprooting all of the evil that they have been trying to keep covered up and trying to hide. So once again, to the young people, keep on doing what you are doing. Keep on protesting. Keep this movement going forward. And inshallah, it's already successful, because you are doing things that probably wouldn't have never transpired, wouldn't have never happened. But because you have created a movement, and because you are putting pressure on people, putting pressure in places where there has not been pressure applied before, then we say right on.